Wondering what to do with all those peaches from this summer? Give this peach cobbler inspired ice cream a try. So this is a 4-part recipe. I know it sounds intimidating, but it's actually pretty simple. The first part is a peach puree, which you can do for store-bought if you prefer. And the last part are macerated peaches. It's a topping. This is also optional, but really it's like the hug that wraps up this peach cobbler ice cream. So starting with the peach puree, you're going to need 4 peaches and 2 to 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, depending on how sweet your peaches are. What you want to do first is just kind of score the peaches in quarters. You don't want to put your knife too deep down. All you're doing is you're just trying to cut through the skin. I'm sure this goes without saying, but just watch your palms, don't cut into your hands. So as you can see, this is what it looks like when it's cut into quarters. Okay, and I'm about to show you a super easy way to peel your peaches. Go ahead and boil a pot of water. And once you have your peaches scored, you can go ahead and put your peaches in the boiling water for only 45 seconds. As you're about to see here, all 4 of my peaches didn't exactly fit in this pot. You want to make sure they're fully submerged, or else it might take a little bit longer to be able to get the skins off. But we're just going to work with this here right now. Okay, so after the 45 seconds, remove your peaches and let them cool for just a minute, because I'm sure, as you can imagine, they're going to be kind of hot to handle. And I'm just going to leave these 2 guys in there because they were the ones that were floating above. Give them an extra second. As you can see now, you should be able to peel the skin off your peaches in sheets. Scoring is not absolutely necessary to use this technique, but I have found that it makes it that much easier to get the skin off in the sheets. So then just go ahead and peel all your peaches. All right, we're all peeled, and now very carefully, you're going to cut through to the pit halfway, because they're very slippery right now, so be very careful. And then you're going to cut 1/4 halfway to the pit. That way then you can pull that chunk off, and it should be really easy to take the pit out of your peaches now. And then just go ahead and take the pits out of all of them. So then you're gonna throw your peaches after you've skinned them and taken the pits out, either in a blender. I'm using a hand blender, and I will leave a link in the description below if you wanna check out one of these immersion blenders. They're great, I use them all the time. So just go ahead and blend together your peaches and your brown sugar. And that is the entire peach puree. It's so simple, you guys. Like I said, you can use the store-bought kind if you really don't feel like doing this. But, I mean, what could be better than homemade peach puree? It's so simple. FYI, 4 peaches equates about 12 ounces of peach puree. Now, moving on to the star of the show, we need to make our ice cream base. We're gonna start with 10 ounces of heavy cream, 20 ounces of whole milk, and then we need about 8 ounces of brown sugar, about a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a pinch of salt, and then 8 ounces of our peach puree. So in a pot over medium-low heat, you're going to pour in your milk, your cream, your peach puree, and your pinch of salt. And you're going to heat this up until it reaches 180 degrees. And that's Fahrenheit, by the way. You'll know it's starting to get close because as you can see here, the top is starting to get a little foamy. So let's take our temperature and let's see what we're at. Okay, so we're about 170-ish and we're pretty close. So let's keep going for just another minute or two. All right, so now that we're at temperature, we're gonna go ahead and stir in our vanilla. If you notice by any chance that your puree is starting to break, you can always go ahead and throw that immersion blender in there and blend it all together again. Take it off the heat once you reach temperature and have mixed in your vanilla, and then you wanna strain it through a fine mesh sieve into a separate bowl. And then you're going to place this bowl in an ice bath. What an ice bath is, it is a larger bowl filled with ice and water. And what this does is it's going to cool down your ice cream so it doesn't continue cooking and possibly burn the milk. So just go ahead and periodically stir your base while it's in the ice bath until it cools down to room temperature, which is roughly 70 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you've reached room temperature, go ahead and put a piece of plastic wrap over it and put it in the fridge overnight, or for at least 4 hours. So while that is cooling down in our fridge, we're gonna start with the biscuit topping, which is very reminiscent of a traditional cobbler topping. What you need to make this is 6 tablespoons of grated salted butter, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, which is roughly 5 ounces, a 1/4 cup, which is roughly 2 ounces of both white sugar and brown sugar, a teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, as well as about a 1/4 cup of milk. All right, so in a bowl, you're just going to combine your dry ingredients. So that is your flour, your baking powder, and your salt, and give those a little toss. And then we're going to add in both of our sugars, the white sugar and the brown sugar to that. Once again, just give that a little twirl. And then go ahead and add in your grated butter. While you mix this in, you kind of do want it not to mix in fully. You want to see like little pea-sized chunks throughout. And then lastly, go ahead and add in your milk. You may need more or less depending on the humidity in the air and all that stuff. But really you want this to come together to form a biscuit dough-like texture. So once you have that all mixed together, you're gonna just drop spoonfuls. I'm using a 1 tablespoon cookie scoop on a lined baking sheet. They don't have to be perfect. They can touch. It's not a big deal. Doesn't really matter. This is just for the topping. You can either crumble this to put it in your ice cream, or you can serve them on the side as kind of like a biscuit. It's really up to you, but neatness is not a priority here. Then just pop them in your oven. They took me 13 minutes, so start your timer at 11 minutes. And you want them to be just starting to get golden around the edges, as you can see here. Put those aside to cool, and we're gonna macerate some peaches. All right, so we're going to start with a teaspoon of cinnamon, a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg, a quarter teaspoon of salt, about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, as well as 2 peaches, and about a quarter cup of white sugar. So once again, let us take the pits out of our peaches. Careful not to cut yourself. And then we're just going to dice up our peaches. I'm leaving the skin on my peaches because I really like the beautiful red color that it adds to the ice cream. All right, once you're all diced, go ahead and add the remainder of your ingredients. So your sugar, your lemon juice, and your spices. Give her a good toss, and then you're just gonna set it aside because you want your peaches to soak in with the sugar and the acid of the lemon juice and all the spices, because it's going to create this amazing flavorful sauce. And you can always let this sit overnight, but I would recommend let it sit for at least 30 minutes. Let it sit off to the side while you're churning your ice cream, and that should give you about just enough time. So I'm using the KitchenAid stand mixer, and I will leave a link down below if you guys are looking for something like this, an ice cream maker. I really like this one because it is affordable. Now, you're going to just add your base to it and follow the manufacturer's instructions to your ice cream maker. I let mine churn for about 20 minutes. What you're really looking for is you want it to double in size. All right, just let her whip. Okay, so then after your peaches have sat for a sufficient amount of time, you can strain them. I left mine overnight. I did them the same time that I made my ice cream base. So while my ice cream was mixing, I decided to strain them then, but you can always strain them after you're done churning your ice cream. No big deal. So what you want to do is make sure you're separating the sauce from the peach chunks. Oh my God, I could just eat this sauce with a spoon. It is so good. All right, looking back to our ice cream, we're about halfway there. As you can see, it's starting to fluff up, and there we are. There's our finished product. We're doubled in size. We're almost to the top of the pot. We are ready to rock and roll here. So go ahead and remove your ice cream from the machine, or if you have the same machine I do, just take out the whip part. And the texture of your ice cream at this point should be very much like soft serve. Now we're going to take our peach chunks that we had strained previously, and we want to toss those in. As well as I am going to take a bunch of these biscuits here. I'm going to save some for the side, but I am going to use most of them and crumble them up into medium-ish sized chunks, and I'm going to toss these as well. So gently fold your ice cream so that you don't break up the cookies too much and you don't take all the air out of your ice cream. Fold your toppings in. After you've done that, go ahead and put your ice cream in a freezer safe dish or a container that you plan on storing it in. And now we're going to take that delicious macerated juice from our peaches and we're going to just drizzle it over the top. And I'm going to just run my spoon through it to create a kind of marbled effect. You can always save your leftovers for other ice cream toppings or whatnot. Or you can even use, if you have extra peach puree from the beginning, as your ice cream topping. All right, doesn't that look so good? Oh my gosh, I'm getting so hungry just recording this. You're going to put your ice cream now in the freezer. I suggest at least 3 to 4 hours. You need this to ripen so that it becomes the right texture. After you've had it in the freezer, I like to just leave it out for maybe like 10 minutes so it's nice and easy to scoop. And there you have your own homemade peach cobbler ice cream. Give it a try, you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel and let me know down below if you've tried this recipe and how it went for you. See you guys next time.